goodness to Pica Poco Kitchen. Today we're making flautas. Vámonos. Guajillo, where water is collected. Or as it is known today, Tacubaya is a colorful neighborhood located in the west of Mexico City. It is a place full of history, from a Mexica settlement to the battleground in 1859 to one of the bloodiest moments of the Reform War. It was once the place for elite holiday homes and a hotspot for revolutionaries. Little by little, with urbanization, it became a place of commerce. But it is also the home of the most wonderful flautas in Mexico. Flautas of Tacubaya or Flautas Don Lupe have been there since 1956. They are lovingly called air flautas because of the little amount of meat filling them, but that doesn't make them any less delicious. The peculiar use of cabbage, tons of cheese and cream, and they're drenched in a delicious sauce that covers all over the plate and sometimes your clothes, gives them their peculiar and unique characteristics. They are located nearby the Tacubaya metro station. And when I was little, in the early 90s, my dad and I would go there to eat. They were not just delicious, but very cheap. If I remember correctly, back then they were around 1 peso and 50 cents per piece. I believe that nowadays they are 10 pesos each, which is still a bargain if you consider that you're not just eating something wonderful, but you're consuming mouthfuls of tradition and history. So today's recipe is simply my love letter to those wonderful flautas that impacted my childhood. So let's see how that goes. Like so many other times, we're gonna start by making our dough for the tortillas. I have here 2.5 cups of Masa Harina flour and 1 cup and 3/4 of warm water. You're gonna be adding your water gradually and doughing that masa until it's smooth and soft and everything is well hydrated. Once you're done, cover it with some plastic and let it sit for at least 15 minutes. For my meat, I went for chuck roast. You can use skirt as well. I had almost 3 pounds, but I'm gonna be using only half of it. It has a good amount of fat, and that's what we want because we want it to almost melt down when we bite into the flautas. I'm gonna be cooking it in my pressure cooker with 3 garlic cloves, 1/4 of an onion, 2 bay leaves, water to cover, season well, and add also 2 tablespoons of beef bouillon. It's been almost 20 minutes that my dough has been resting, and now it's time to start shaping. I will show you here the amount of dough that I would grab for a regular tortilla and how big it looks in my hand. But I'm gonna be tortillas for flautas, which have to be bigger. So I want to show you more or less in comparison how big your dough testales need to be. So check this out. It's this big and more or less they were around 3 ounces. Because of their size and shape, my little round tortilla press is not gonna do any good. So I'm gonna have to work all of them by hand. I'm gonna start with an oblong shape that I'll be shaping with the heel of my hand in an open plastic bag. I'm gonna give it a head start by pressing with my fingers in my hand until I have more or less the shape that I want. At this point, I think that I should explain that flautas are basically very big fried tacos, or as Americans call them, taquitos. So in this case would be tacotes. I don't know. The thing is, they're called flautas because they resemble the musical instrument flutes. So in order to achieve that shape, I need an oval. If they were just giant circles, the ratio of tortilla to filling would be greater and they wouldn't fry as well, and definitely they wouldn't shape the same way. So I'm also using a rolling pin to help me push the dough so I get a more or less even thickness. My tortillas ended up looking quite ugly. You can do some help with your fingers pushing the shape a little bit, but don't worry too much about it because in the end we need to roll them up. And eventually they will look better the more you make. So I promise you that won't affect in any way the flavor of your flautas. At this point, I think you may have already an idea on how to make them. If you're lucky enough and have a big square or rectangular tortilla press, you might be able to do this without all this work. Just make your oblong shape, press it down, and it very likely will come out better than what mine is looking right now. And if you don't want to bother, they also sell tortillas for flautas, so check that out. Now, in order to get our tortilla from the bag to the pan, you have to do the following thing. Lift off one of the parts of the bag, flip it around, and lift the other part as well. That will make sure that your tortilla is not sticking to the bag and your transfer will be easier. You can place it carefully in your fingers and from there on take it to your pan just like this. And this time I'm taking you to my stove for the cooking process of the tortilla and also to show you off the ugliest tortilla ever. Just place it on a hot pan. You will see some steam coming out, and that's a good sign that the liquid is evaporating and your tortilla is cooking. When your tortilla changes color and you're able to slide it when moving the pan, it's time to flip it over. Flip it and let it sit for a couple of minutes. And now you're gonna flip it a third time and apply pressure on top. You'll see how it magically bubbles up. And that's an indicator of well hydrated and kneaded dough. So give yourself a pat in the back, and I like to flip it one more time just to give it a little bit of color. Take them out and let them rest wrapped up in a kitchen towel. My meat is ready, tender and shredded. And as you can see, some of my tortillas ended up better looking than others. And in this case, I'm gonna go against the tradition and add way more meat than what the originals have. What can I say? Your girl's hungry. And with the meat in place, we're gonna wrap them up as tight as we can. And as you can see, we could face a little problem. Just by leaving them there, they're gonna just pop open. So to avoid that, I'm going to tightly wrap it up and place it with the opening facing down while I make a second flauta, and you'll see why. With my second flauta ready, I'm gonna wrap it up as tight as I can and stab it across the middle with a toothpick and attach it to the second flauta, both openings facing each other. I'll continue doing that with the rest of my flautas, and you could fry them right away, but to help them maintain their shape, I like to wrap them in a paper towel or a little bit of plastic and let them sit in the fridge. So let's make the salsa while we wait. I have a quarter of an onion, 3 big Roma tomatoes, and 4 garlic cloves. I'm gonna roast all of this in the oven 350 for 20 minutes. Don't forget to drizzle everything in oil. And I want to do it this way to retain as much liquid as I can and to get the best flavor out of all my ingredients. In my pan, in a little bit of oil, I'm gonna lightly and quickly fry my dry peppers. I have a clean de-seeded Guajillo pepper and 6 Árbol peppers that I already can tell are gonna be too many. So I'm gonna roast them and decide how many I want to add in the end. In the end, I ended up adding only 4 of them. The thing with this sauce is that it's spicy, but it's liquid enough that you can drench your flautas with it. So I'm looking for a salsa with light consistency but a lot of flavor. I'm gonna add all my roasted ingredients into the processor with the peppers, 1 cup of water, blend and taste for seasoning. In my case, it needed salt and it was way too spicy. I adjust the salt, but it is what it is. And now is frying time. Fry your flautas, turn them around, and be mindful of the little pieces of meat that fall off your flautas because they might become dangerous projectiles to your face. Don't forget to remove the toothpicks and let them fry until they're golden all round. When they're ready, let's take them to the assembly line for some cream, cheese, cabbage, and let's drench them in salsa or just drizzle them with salsa. And let me encourage you to go on social media and look up for videos of these flautas being assembled. The mastery of those guys is gonna blow your mind. And here you go. I can already tell by looking at them that they don't look at all like the original ones. But I guess that's alright because some things need to stay preserved as a secret and an unachievable thing because that makes us treasure them more. I definitely nailed the consistency of the salsa, but it was way too spicy and definitely it doesn't taste like the secret salsa that they use, and I don't think I will ever nail it. Maybe next time that I try them, I'll try to figure out a closer version of that, but for now, this was too spicy to drench them on. Maybe in a couple of days when the salsa loses its spiciness, but at that time, I don't think I'm gonna have any flautas left, so I will have to pour it in something else. They do look good and smell really good, so I don't think it was a waste of time at all, and at least I'm proud that I achieved the size of tortillas that I was looking for and probably be improving on that skill from now on. So let's dig in. I guess following the tradition, you will have to eat them standing up. Mm. Mm. They are very good, and if I'm honest with you, because of all the cream, cheese, and toppings, the salsa is quite bearable. So if you're braver than me, go ahead and drench them and tell me how that goes. But so far, this has been a fun ride. And if you're ever in Mexico City, ask your local friend to take you there because it's an experience that you have to live for yourself. And don't forget to visit the wonderful historical spots that there are in Tacubaya. But for now, my stop hits here and I'll jump off of the memory lane wagon. So if you enjoy this recipe just like this video, please share with your friends, like, subscribe, and be notified. And for more, follow me on the socials. Adios, amigues.